We are taking charge of every facet of our lives, and this is Take Charge with Sophie. My name is Sophia Kafui Teye. In our last episode, we talked about choosing investment service provider. In this episode, we'll be talking about signs of risky investments. You agree with me that all investments have risk inherent in them. Once there's a return, there's a probability that there's a risk associated with it. That is why we all know this common saying that the higher the risk, the higher the return, and the vice versa. But what is risk? Risk is the probability that your expected returns may not be met. So if your expected returns may not be met, it means that there's some form of risk. There's some form of uncertainty. But there are two main types of risk in finance. The first risk is systematic risk. The systematic risk is the risk that is inherent in investing in an economy. So if generally the economy is bad, every other person who is investing in it will experience some form of challenge as far as their investment is concerned. Example, if interest rates are very high, it means that the investor is going to receive higher returns on their investments. But the downside of it is that there could be defaults. I mean, we all saw it with Ghana, when all of a sudden, because of the deteriorating macroeconomic issues we were having, treasury bill rates began to shoot up. As inflation shoots up, CD started depreciating astronomically and all that. And government kept increasing the treasury bill rate up to over 30% last year. And then we all heard what happened. I mean, DDEP came, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program was proposed by Ministry of Finance because government believes that interest payment is taking a chunk of our GDP. So you realize that systematic risk is something that affects the entire economy. So fund managers, banks, and financial service providers are all in the economy. So once that particular wind is blowing, it affects everyone. But some are able to stand well during periods of distressed macroeconomic environments, depending on how their own risk management is all about. And some too will fall along the way. The other type of risk is unsystematic risk. The unsystematic risk is the company-specific risk, which is the risk that is inherent in investing in that particular company. So when it comes to systematic risk, the one I discussed earlier, you cannot diversify away that kind of risk. But the one that affects the company-specific risk, that one, you can use diversification to resolve it. So now that we know what risk is all about, we'll be focusing more on the unsystematic aspect of risk. So if we say we should invest, but you should be able to identify some signs that the investment is risky, and then there are chances that you could lose portions of your money. The first pointer is if the product is too complex, it means that it's a risky product to some extent. Remember, the men's gold products, when you call the corporate affairs person and you ask what men's gold product was all about, he has something different to say. If you call the marketing person of men's gold, asking them to describe what the product is, they also have something else to say. And if you ask the customers of men's gold what they are investing in, they also have a different understanding of what product they are investing in. So once the product is extremely complex, there are a lot of loopholes that can be exploited to your disadvantage as an investor. That is why it is very important that you should be mindful of complex products. But there are certain investment products that are complex, like exchange traded funds, but they are not necessarily risky. If you understand it very well and you understand your own risk appetite, you can invest in such. But I mean, the general destination is that you should be careful if the investment is too complex. And when the return is supernormal, So if you are investing in something and the returns like 100% or 50% or 60%, you should be worried if it's not buying and selling business. And it's a financial product. You should be worried. There are certain times that the stock markets can do so well, and then you can cross 50 and all that, but those are just few outliers. There are certain times that people are doing fixed deposits, and then when treasury bill rate is like 15% or 20%, the product is giving them 35%. You begin to ask yourself, what at all are they investing in that they can be able to meet their own operating costs and everything to be able to give you 35% if treasury bill is giving like 20%. So the further your returns is away from the benchmark rates, which is the government of Ghana rates for that particular investment. So if you are doing a 91-day investment with a 91-day fixed deposit with a financial institution, and they are giving you maybe 30 and the treasury bill rate is 15.91. I'm just using hypothetical rate. That does not reflect the rate on the market now. If a treasury bill 91 is 15 and they are giving you like 30, I mean, you should ask yourself, what are they investing in? Because they have to actually invest in something and get something, take their fees before they give you a portion. So you should be very worried about that. If the 182-day treasury bill is like 22 and they are giving you 35, that's like about 13% above the benchmark rate. You should be worried. At least 2 or 2.5% above the government benchmark is reasonable. Anything above that, you should be a bit kind of worried, especially if it crosses over 5 to 10%, then you should be very worried. And if it's the 364-day you are investing somewhere 1 year, and then maybe the 364 days 25, again I'm using hypothetical rates, and the people are giving you 40, so the remaining 15% that they are adding to you is like a risk premium kind of, so they are compensating you for the kind of risk they are taking with your money. So you should be very worried about it. So when the return is supernormal, when it is too good to be true, then you should know that there's a problem. We were all in this country when we heard about US tilapia. People were saying they were cashing out, like you put in this money and then within some few months you get this and all that. And we're all here, we heard about men's gold. Even though people actually did their cash out before, it actually went bad. So if the return is supernormal, you should be worried. And when the company is not licensed, if you are investing with a financial service provider that is not licensed, if something happens, who are you going to cry to? It means that you are taking too much risk. So as an investor, you are in charge of your money. You have the right, and then you are supposed to decide where your money should go. Do not gamble with the money that you have sweated to actually earn. Look at the stress we all go through in earning our monies. We sit in traffic for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening before we get home. We get to work, and the work is already stressful, plus the emotional gymnastics and dramas from our work colleagues and all that. And after going through all this, you receive your income, your salary. And instead of enjoying it, you decide that, okay, I'm not going to spend this money, everything, I'll put some aside for investment. Then you go and give it to the wrong person to actually manage for you. When that happens, you have done yourself a great disservice. What is the whole point in investing if you are not investing right by checking the risk pointers that we have discussed? Do not say that I didn't know. You have been forewarned. Make sure that you deal with only licensed investment service provider. You should be worried about investment with supernormal returns and also investment products that are extremely complex. Investment is good and will always be good. Even though there are lots of stories about people who got their fingers bent by investing, there are 1,000,001 beautiful success stories of people who have benefited from investment and are still benefiting from investments. Some have invested and they have lost portions, but at least some has remained that they can fall onto. How about those who didn't invest at all? So do not say that because investment is risky, you are not going to invest at all. Just look out for the pointers and make sure that you are actually taking a decision that will protect your money. If you are in doubt, always talk to the regulator for guidance, and continue reading as an investor. At least follow your money. For the company that you are investing in, follow news around them so that if there's a problem, you will hear. At least follow them on their social media platforms so that if other customers are complaining, you also get to know so that you can take a very quick action before it gets worse. That will be all for now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in my next episode.